What is the McKinsey 7S model? Well, this is a model proposed or developed by the McKinsey Consulting Company in concert with professors from Stanford and Harvard business schools. But in summary, the model presents 7 identified factors. Now, these factors are interrelated and they affect each other in some nature. But these factors are characteristics that are common in successful organizations. So you can actually use this model to examine the extent to which any of these factors are present within an organization to gauge some level of its likelihood of success in the marketplace. Now, here's a visual depiction of the 7 interrelated factors. At the top, you'll see strategy. So what is the strategy of the organization? This is the high-level organizational strategy, the things incorporated into the mission, vision, values of the company. What is the structure of the company? How is it organized? And particularly, is it organized with regard to its hierarchy and its structures in a way that can allow it to achieve its strategic objectives? What are the systems in place that interconnect all facets of the organization, particularly the operational processes and the decision-making processes? The staff, what are the skill levels, the core capabilities, the competencies of the staff that make up the organization? Style, what is the manner or approach, the attitude, the orientation or perspectives of the individuals and of the organization itself that it assumes, right? The personality that it assumes in carrying out its task and operating within a given marketplace. And then skills. What are the core competencies, the abilities, once again, that are inherent in the organization's core competencies, the things that can give rise or lead to some level of competitive advantage in the organization. Now, these factors are examined. The presence or strength of these factors are examined to determine the extent to which they give rise to what we call superordinated goals or overarching goals, objectives. We can look at it as shared values of the organization. That is, the extent to which the organization is on the same page with what it is trying to accomplish with regard to all of these factors. So with that being said, this model is very useful when planning for organizational strategy and structure, whether you're establishing it initially or you're modifying it, whether you're trying to go through phases of increased operational efficiency or developing new decision-making processes, particularly when an organization has to shift strategic courses. That is, you're facing some level of organizational change necessity and you're seeking to implement that change. And then primarily when you're developing and again executing or carrying out a new strategy. This is when you're going to look at these factors to determine how is that going to affect an organizational level, a competitive and even operational level strategy. And then lastly, back to the idea of organizational change. That is, you are projecting what levels of change and adaptation will be necessary. So you're planning for whatever organizational change will present itself in the future. And then lastly, it can be useful in structural changes to the organization, major transaction where the organization is perhaps spinning off a subsidiary, acquiring a new unit, or being acquired by a strategic buyer, or somehow merging with other companies. So it's used in many contexts, and the purpose, once again, remains the same throughout: the extent to which you can evaluate the company's ability to successfully undergo or undertake any of these processes. So in summary, this is McKinsey's 7S model.